Ladies and gentlemen, sit back and relax for the next hour as the CW Reno brings you Old Tales of Nevada. It's an hour of rich Nevada history and current-day success stories hosted by scholar, historian, and world-renowned gold and silver baron Hugh Roy Marshall. Brought to you by the Silverland Inn and Suites and the Marshall Mint.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Old Tales of Nevada, past and present. Glad to have you with us this week. We're going to have a great show this week because we're going to go all the way back to 1913 and the women's movement to get voting rights. So stay tuned. We'll tell you about the whole story right after this message. Welcome back to Old Tales of Nevada, past and present. We're glad to have you with us this week. My name is John O'Brien. I'm the moderator of the folks here up on the platform. And along with me today is my good buddy and our benefactor, Hugh Roy Marshall. Hugh Roy, glad to have you with us today. John. And the two ladies, we're going to explain who they are in a little bit, but they have some important things to tell us about today as well. But Hugh Roy, let's go to you first. You always like to tell us why we do the show, why we spend so much time on the history here in Nevada. So go ahead and share.
Well, we do this show to spread pride in the state of Nevada, and for Nevada's role in the United States as one of the most important states in the United States, because after the Civil War, the country was broke. We owed more than what we were worth to France, Germany, and England, which we didn't want to be France, Germany, and England.
No, not at all.
So the U.S. really started with the wealth that came from the Comstock. We did a lot of other things. We made up the first silver dollar, which probably people already know about, but there was currency developed in 1890 by the Sherman Silver Act, which made up greenbacks and goldbacks. The greenbacks were $1 redeemable in silver, and the goldbacks were redeemable in gold if they were $20 or more. Then we had President McKinley came along that gave us the Federal Reserve note, which became a note payable to the individual of that many dollars, but not redeemable in anything other than the paper.
Wow.
So that greatly changed the currency, which started really throughout the world to not back the currency so much anymore. China and Japan are real high on backing entirely in gold. Of course, that's what I do is mine gold. I found a very interesting place up above Reese River Valley recently.
Where's that at?
It's out in the center part of the state.
Okay.
Probably 20 miles from my own.
Oh, all right.
It's up in the mountains, though,
Sure.
and there was 4 volcanoes together that have produced a tremendous amount of gold laying all over the ground.
No kidding. Just laying on the ground.
Yeah.
Wow, you have to give me that location
last week,
after the show.
Yeah. Otherwise, we produce these silver and gold bars from ore up to the Comstock.
How unique is that? That's beautiful.
Yeah, if I put one in a box.
Oh, that's very nice, yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, so that's coming right from the Comstock, and how many places in the world sell Comstock gold like that? Probably not very many.
Very, very few.
Yeah, in fact, one of the few places is the Marshall Mint, right?
Well, you know, 8 to 9% of all the gold that's produced in the world every year comes from the state of Nevada, and there's not 1 ounce of it that stays here for any purpose.
Right.
Which is not too good for the state. But anyway, back to our show. We do this show to bring pride to people that live in Nevada, and one thing we're proud of is that women's suffrage had a role to play in the state of Nevada, which was very important also.
Yeah.
That's why we had these 2 ladies here.
That's right, that's for sure.
Tell us all about it.
Yeah, and before we get to the ladies behind us here, we want to make sure that they know that that's available at the Marshall Mint, 96 North C Street.
First place on your right coming into town from Reno, or last place on your left going out of town from Carson.
Right, and your other property is down below there on East Street.
We have a hotel there, Silverland Inn and Suites. We love to have the people come out and stay there. We have a nice indoor pool and some rooms with whirlpools and 120-mile view from the outside.
Right, beautiful place to be in the summertime up there.
We'll take good care of you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Silverland Inn and Suites.
Great staff. 847-4484. There you go. After 108 episodes, we actually memorized
the number.
All right. Well, listen. Like I said in the intro, we're gonna take a little trip back in time, back to about 1913, and the ladies that are with us are dressed in character, and they are actually taking on the role of Anne Martin and Bird Wilson, who were very involved in the suffrage campaign back in Nevada in those days, and they were part of the Equal Franchise Society, all right? And there were a number of these around the country that were trying to get women their vote. But let's just tune in here to a conversation that these ladies in character are having about their experience back in 1913. So ladies, it's all yours.
And I'm so glad you called this meeting, and I'm thrilled. The Nevada legislature on January 31st, for the second time, passed the amendment giving women the right to vote. Now, as you know, according to our Constitution, the legislature has to pass it twice, and then the voters have to approve it. So you're the president of the Equal Franchise Society, and I'm the vice president for Southern Nevada. So we really have a lot of strategy to plan.
We've got to get busy. We've got to get busy. There's 20,000 men in the state of Nevada. We have to convince every one of them to vote next November 1914 that we can have the vote, just because the all-male state legislature has passed it twice. 1911 and 1913, we still have to have the rest of the men in the state of Nevada vote for us.
Well, we've been really working everywhere in the state, and we have grassroots movements. In fact, we've been working with the legislature, telling those men that if you're going to serve in the legislature and you want the vote of our men, our husbands and fathers and sons, you better go to Carson City and vote for women's suffrage, because if you don't, we won't get you elected dog catcher the next time around.
And it worked.
And it worked. And we have their pledges that when they go to Carson, they'll vote for us. And we've really kind of gotten this in hand, because it didn't work so well before, did it?
No, back in 1869, when Representative Halifax introduced this into the legislature, it passed just fine, but the 1871 legislature didn't even consider it, didn't do anything with it. So all those 40 some years it's taken us to finally get to this point. We got to get out and do it.
Well, we have a lot more active women now in 1913. I came to Nevada in 1906.
I was born here.
Well,
I was born in Empire City.
Wow, I didn't realize
in
that.
1875, right?
Well, after that San Francisco earthquake, I was an attorney, and I worked for a federal judge in San Francisco. Well, like a lot of other people, I said, yeah, I'm out of here, because everything was in rubble. But I also wanted to be a stockbroker. So there was a big connection between the San Francisco devastation and the mines of Nevada. So we wanted a lot of investment. And in fact, it was our mines which rebuilt San Francisco. So I came first to Manhattan, then to Goldfield, and then to Tonopah to work as an attorney. I bought a mine. I bought a ranch. Stockbrokers do pretty well in a gold rush. So I've been here since 1906, and I really think it's important that the Nevada women get the right to vote. Practically every other state in the West has already given women the right to vote.
But Nevada and Montana, they're the only two western states where women do not have to vote.
And who gave us the vote first in the United States? Was it Wyoming?
Who gave? Oh, yeah, right. I'm sorry. Yeah, Wyoming was the first state that women had to vote. 1893. 1893.
And there are people who believe that the western states don't consider women a threat because we're only about a fifth of the population in the state of Nevada. Well, what can we do? Give the little ladies the right to vote, and they totally underestimate us. And the men think, oh, this is kind of a novelty, it's kind of fun. What can women do with the right to vote? There aren't that many of them in Nevada. So I think we need to capitalize on that.
Definitely, definitely. Let them know that we're just going to help.
Yes,
support them.
right.
Yes.
Because a lot of them are really afraid that we're in cahoots with the prohibitionists, and that the first thing we're going to do is go in and tear up the saloons. So we need to let our men know that we're not going to interfere with any of the saloons, and we're not.
Their liquor and their women, we don't care.
We don't care. This is Nevada. what are we going to do first?
Well, first we are going to be sure that our local women are ready to go on this, and we're going to be going out there and helping them to going out and getting the vote, going down in the mines again, well, not again, but going down in the mines and even down to that place way down south called Las Vegas.
I understand there are a couple of ranches down there now, and Helen Stewart can help us because she's very active down there.
Right.
I think we should personally meet and secure the vote of every single man in Nevada. There are only just a little over 20,000 registered voters, and we have a list of all of them. So we can go around, and we've got an old car. Of course, Nevada doesn't have really any roads, but we can use the wagon tracks.
There's always the train.
And there's always the train. And you know, the national organization is going to send Mabel Vernon out to do whistle-stop tours because she's very persuasive back east.
Yes, she is. And there are several other national women's suffrage people who are going to be coming out and helping us too. Because when I was back there working on the national level, I was in contact with them and they agreed to come out and help us. They've even helped us financially.
Well, we have this big map, and all the states are black if they don't. It's a U.S. map, and all the states are black if they haven't given women the right to vote.
Most of them are back east.
Most of them are back east, but then they're all painted white, and they show that Western women in every state have been given the right to vote, except Nevada.
Montana and Nevada.
So we've got to change the color on that map and make sure that Nevada is one of them. And we have until Election Day in November of 1914. And if we can get all those men to vote for us, I think we've got a really good chance.
I do too. Let's go.
Let's go.
Get it done. All right.
We're back here at Old Tales of Nevada, past and present, and as you saw in our last segment, we're back in the 1913 era, and we've been talking with Ann Martin and Bird Wilson, and they were two of the major players in the organization called Equal Franchise Society, which was really about suffrage and getting the vote for women back there in those early days. And as the ladies mentioned, as you mentioned, Montana and Nevada were the two holdouts. You were saying, for example, that Wyoming had it way before Nevada had suffrage or women's vote. And how soon before was it that Wyoming had it than Nevada?
Same year, 1914.
What about Wyoming?
Wyoming.
It was Wyoming, I was
1890.
Was
it
it
1893 or
1869
1878? Or
yeah, right.
It was like 40 years spread there. So the women in Wyoming could vote both in local elections, congressional, even federal elections, things like that?
Yes.
No.
Oh, no, not in federal.
Not
no,
in
that
federal.
didn't come until 1920.
Oh, okay.
Wait a minute, we're still in character.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did.
Oh, it's
Well, we're going back a
1913.
long ways here,
Yes.
so, I can see why memories might fade. But what was the reason for Nevada waiting until 1914? Why Montana waiting till 1914? Was there a lot of prejudice towards women in those days?
I don't think so. I think basically it was because there weren't women.
Oh, there just weren't women in Nevada.
Yeah, I mean there were just a few in each location. Most of them were very, very busy cooking for all the men and running boarding houses and things like that. They didn't have time to even think about voting.
Okay.
And I think it wasn't until the female population grew and expanded that it was able to come up as a topic.
Yeah. Now, you
And
mentioned that you're an attorney. You owned gold mines. You ran a couple of businesses, so on and so forth. So evidently you were respected by the man's community here in Nevada, right?
Right. I was operating in a man's world. So I also wrote a pamphlet that it was called Women Under Nevada Law. And I pointed out the differences between the rights of men and women in this state. And women, married women, had no control over their lives or their children. They all belonged to the husband. Now, I was not married, so I had more rights than a married woman did. And many of the women in Nevada were single women or widows, and they owned businesses. Nevada women became entrepreneurs early on because it was the Wild West.
Right.
They hadn't had a chance to put in a lot of the,
Yeah,
the
you
barriers.
mentioned Mrs. Stewart, Helen Stewart, who was your protege or your compadre from the southern part of the state. She was quite the entrepreneur. After her husband died, she opened up businesses in real estate, became the first lady of Las Vegas.
Now, there's a question whether or not she would have been able to do any of those things if somebody hadn't shot her husband. Right. So
Maybe it was her. No, we don't know for
it
sure.
wasn't. But no, single women had a lot more opportunity than married women
Right.
did.
'Cause I would imagine the married women were, having babies and taking care of the household chores, the cooking, and probably long, hard days out here in Nevada,
Right.
raising a family.
I think one thing that's very important in this too is that there weren't any women, as you said, but the women that did come, many of them were ordered out of those magazines or whatever.
Mail order
Mail order bride or whatever.
Right.
There was no women at all, so they had to order them, and then they came out of some company.
Yeah.
And we were opportunity seekers. We came west for the same reasons the men came west. The lure of gold and gold mines. And many of us, or some of us, were miners. I had a part interest in a mine.
Where was your mine, by the way?
Down in Manhattan.
Manhattan. Okay.
That area.
Yeah. You know where that's at.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
right.
In fact, as you were speaking about your efforts to get the men to be on your side for the vote, you said you went down into the mines?
Into the mines.
Went down into the mines.
Right. Well, we had to meet, we have to meet every one of those 22,000 plus voters.
How did you do that? I mean, that was quite the trek down into those mines.
You
It was
bet.
very hot, very uncomfortable.
Right?
Very
And many of them were working 24-hour shifts.
Yeah.
So we had to go down 3 times in a day, in a 24-hour period, to make sure that we looked every man in the eye
Yeah.
and said, we want your vote.
So you were determined. weren't
Oh,
you?
absolutely. It's
You
it's
just
the
like were
beginning.
nagging those poor men.
Chasing them down with
Chasing
our
them down.
umbrellas.
I give up. I'll vote for you.
Well, when a man was working in a mine, and all of a sudden he looks up, and there is a woman in a dress and a hat.
I was going to ask, how did you dress going down into those mines?
Very similarly the way I'm dressed right now.
Right. Wow. That must have been a little, you didn't wear those dresses too long, too far, did you? Because, I mean, that didn't, down in those mines, you get a little sooty and dusty down there, right?
Well, they would have taken pretty good care of any women going down.
Yes, they were. Yes, they were. And they were very respectful.
Yeah.
Yes, also.
Yeah.
They were.
So that must have been a big day in 1914 when the legislature passed this whole thing. Did it have to pass just once, or was it an amendment to the Constitution, or what?
It was an amendment to the Constitution.
I see.
That amendment was written by Felice Cohn, who was an attorney in Reno,
I see.
and also very active in the Equal Franchise Society. She wrote the amendment. The 1911 legislature passed it, and I think many of them thought, it's been passed once before. We're pretty safe here.
They could get by with it. Yeah.
And then the 1913 passed it. Then we're coming up to 1914. This is a big event because this is the 50th anniversary of statehood for Nevada.
Right.
1914. Jeannie Weir, who is also a member of our group.
She's the one who started it.
So the Weirs now, is that the same Weir family we know in our century?
No.
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
Well,
And-
yes, Jeannie Weir is here. She created the Nevada Historical Society.
No kidding.
Right. She came when I left. She and I met when we went to school in California.
Yeah.
And when I came up here in 1897, and I started the history department at the Nevada State University, And then after 2 years, I decided to take a leave of absence, and Jeannie Weir came up and took my position.
How about that?
Yes, she did.
Yeah. So
When
you
I-
were some young, vibrant, aggressive, involved ladies.
Oh, you bet.
Yeah.
You bet. We didn't have anything in the
You
world
wouldn't
to worry
take
about
no
but
from
us.
nobody.
No.
Right.
In fact, when I came back, Jeannie Weir refused to leave.
Wow. How about
So I spent 2 more years at the university. I started the arts department, but nobody wanted to take art classes really. So I just decided to travel.
Okay.
And I went to England, and I got involved in the women's suffrage.
Over there?
There in England.
There you go. You're a little troublemaker, weren't
I
you?
didn't.
Well, and Jeannie Weir was very active in the pageant that to celebrate the 50th anniversary of statehood in Nevada. And that was Nevada Day of 1914, which gave us less than a week before that election in 1914, which was the important election. That's when the male voters gave us the right to vote. So Jeannie was very active in that.
Yeah. Was that a
And-
close vote, by the way?
No, we had quite. I think it was a majority of about 3,000 or something.
okay.
It was good.
That was good.
It was a good vote. We were very proud of the gentleman in Nevada.
Yeah. Now, some of the prominent business people weren't necessarily on your side, right?
No.
To mention one, tell us who that
George
might be.
Wingfield.
George, yeah.
George Wingfield thought it was disgraceful that women would be given the right to vote. He also was a very shrewd businessman, and he owned a lot of, he had his fingers in a lot of pies, banks, mines, and whatever. And if there were women who were not only working for suffrage, but they were working to get rid of liquor, prohibition. You know, they were pushing that. We didn't, because we knew better. That was not a good strategy and not a good mix. But George never believed it. He always believed that we were up to no good, and that, you know, give those ladies an inch and they'll take a mile.
Which proved to be true.
But back to the 50th anniversary of the state of Nevada, Jeannie Weir, up at Mackey Field, she put on a huge pageant celebrating the 50th anniversary of statehood for Nevada. And there were a lot of women who took part in that pageant and carried flags and banners and all of that. So it was a nice fit between that celebration and that pageant. And Jeannie Weir was highly respected in the Reno community. But the interesting thing is we lost in Washoe County.
Wow.
We lost in Story County. We lost, you know, in
Is
the
that because of people like Wingfield was so
yes,
prominent? Yeah,
because
so influential.
he was very influential.
Right.
We won in all the eastern counties. We won in Douglas County. But we couldn't get, and of course Washoe was the biggest county.
Yeah.
But we couldn't get past Wingfield. But there were enough other men out and around in the other counties that, thank God, were fair and open-minded. Yes,
You know what's interesting is I look at the pictures of the ones who were with you back in these days. There was an Indian lady, Sarah Winnemucca, right? And a black lady, so African American. So what kind of reception did that bring from the male voters? Did they accept these, you know, the nationalities and the?
Well, actually, Sarah Winnemucca was before this. She
Oh.
she was when Nevada
She's
was being
already
developed
passed
as a
away.
state.
Right.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, she
Okay,
did.
but I'm looking at that one, Alice
Alice
Smith.
Smith
Yes.
was later.
That was later.
Yeah, because she was born in 1902.
02. Okay, that was a little bit later down the road. Yeah,
so-
but she's a mover and shaker
Right,
in
right, yeah.
right.
Nevada politics as well.
But the thing we had to depend on was that the men in Nevada had come from all over the world. They had come from all over the United States. They were entrepreneurs and adventurers too. Otherwise, they wouldn't have come out here.
Right.
So they were pretty fair-minded and forward-thinking.
Sure.
So we were lucky in that respect because European women did not have the right to vote. British women did not have full suffrage, for instance, till 1928. So we were lucky in the state of Nevada.
Yeah. So you got your permission to vote to vote in 1914. But again, that was for local and state elections.
Right.
When did the opportunity come to fruition as far as the federal vote goes?
I
Do
can
you know?
see in the future. It's going to be 1920.
In 19, but you started working on that immediately. In fact, I've seen pictures where I've seen all these state groups of women all went to Washington. Were you part of that group? That
Well, yes, we
marched on Washington?
right. We presented a petition
I see.
in 1915 in Washington D.C.
So you were part of that.
Yes,
Yeah.
and in fact, the exhibition was Pan Pacific exhibition was in San Francisco in 1915, and a group of ladies were in a Willys Overland, and they drove across the United States.
Okay.
And that was
On our highway.
a real challenge. And then they had this long scroll,
Oh boy.
and they collected signatures as they went.
Wow.
And then
Was that
presented
the Lincoln
them.
Highway you took over?
Well, it wasn't the Lincoln Highway yet,
Okay.
because it wasn't built.
It wasn't built.
There-
yeah,
but-
and they didn't designate it as such.
No.
Well, listen, great talking with you, ladies. And what we're going to do after the break is bring you into the 21st century,
Okay.
and find out who you really are behind those hats and so on and so forth. So listen, stay tuned. We'll be back with more great conversation with the ladies involved with suffrage here in Nevada on Old Tales of Nevada, past and present. We're back here in Old Tales, Nevada, past and present. Again, I'm John O'Brien, and Hugh Roy Marshall are with me, and we're coming back to the 21st century. So now we can really introduce these ladies as who they really are, instead of in character. And we have with us today Holly Van Valkenburgh, all right, and Kathleen Noneman.
Noneman, yes.
Noneman. And you guys just did a great job.
Well, thank you,
Being in
John.
character.
Thank you.
And you have such a wealth of knowledge about what went on back there in 1913 and beyond.
Very well.
And what an effort put forth by those ladies to, bring about their self-respect and opportunity to be involved in society back in those days.
Yeah.
And the effort evidently was worthwhile, because
Yes, it was. It certainly was.
look at women and how they have marched forward since then. But, Mr. Winfield was kind of right in a way, wasn't he?
George was a very shrewd businessman, and he just really thought giving women the right to vote meant nothing but trouble.
Nothing but trouble. And it didn't, he wasn't too far away from the first trouble, and that was prohibition, right?
That was the Women's Christian Temperance
Yeah, they
Union.
started that whole thing.
And the suffrage movement gave them confidence. It gave women good organization skills.
Yeah, they saw what could be done.
They saw what could be done, and many of them, certainly not all of them, but many of them transferred those skills to the Women's Christian Temperance Union.
Sure.
For an example, Holly, her ancestry is that her family, you had a grandmother that was
My
a
grandmother was a WCTU member, yes.
Oh, really? No kidding.
Very active. Even
about that?
As I knew her, there was no alcohol in her house. Right. My father tells a story about when they had a party and he and his brothers put some vodka in the punch.
Oh, no.
And my grandmother didn't know it and she drank it.
Got a little tipsy there, huh? All right.
I wish I'd been there.
And in contrast to that, my great-grandmother was a faro dealer. And she was the other woman who rode into Custer, South Dakota with Calamity Jane and Bill Hickok and the boys. she was.
What a background. What a
Yes.
background.
So you see that even today, you know, people that are involved in, like, with living history,
Right.
Yeah.
we come from it from
Yeah.
from different
That's
backgrounds.
fantastic. Now, you're part of a group called Nevada Women's History Project.
Yes.
And how many members are part of the group today?
It's around 200, aren't they?
Oh, you have
Well,
200 members.
probably if you count it statewide. In Reno, we usually run between 100, 125.
Right. Now, are the ladies that are involved with the project, are they ladies like you that have these great backgrounds?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And a real interest in history.
Right.
Our group was started in the mid-90s by Senator Jean Ford.
And this is her hat.
Yes,
Oh, that's
and
her
that's
hat.
her hat.
Are you familiar with her?
And
Are
actually,
you?
she made
That one too?
this one for
No
me.
kidding.
Yes. And
She's incredible.
she was very active state assemblywoman and from Las Vegas, and then a state senator in the 1960s. Very active, trying to get the ERA amendment passed and that sort of thing. And after she left politics, she came to UNR and established the Women's Studies program. And she looked around and said, "We know nothing about the women of Nevada." And she looked at all the history books and said, "How can I teach about Nevada women when we don't know anything about them?"
Right, right.
So,
Well, you know, one thing I really believe about the women in this state, as well as women in general. I know my mom and grandma were both members of the American Revolution, daughters of the American Revolution. But it was the women that always saved the historical part of the family, not the man usually.
Man,
And
yeah.
it was women that held on to the history of the state and of this state to form the Nevada Historical Society.
Right. We've had a lot of women on the
Right.
show.
Fill that role there
They
and
do that now.
throughout the
Yeah.
United States as more of a natural thing. I
Right.
think. Saving the things from their family and then giving it to the next daughter or the next son or whoever there was.
passing that knowledge on. Jean Ford was a dynamo. And she started this organization, and then she gave us the idea for our first major project, which was to get the statue of Sarah Winnemucca in Washington, D.C. And we worked with First Lady Dee McGuinn and Governor Kenny Gwinn, who were extremely supportive. They did everything they could. And most of both our state and federal legislators were very, very helpful. So we had a contest, and a young man named Benjamin Victor created the statue, and then we now have Sarah Winnemucca as the second Nevada statue. The first one is Pat McCarran. Second is a woman, one of the few states that have a woman, and especially a woman of color. And she is in the national capital. And then there's a smaller statue in Las Vegas, because the people in Las Vegas also did a tremendous amount of work on this project.
Well, because we raised the money.
Yes.
The
Yes.
legislature approved the legislation, but not funding.
So
Yes.
your group had to go out and
We-
raise the
We
money.
raised.
Project.
So
we
you were
ra-
like those ladies from 1913.
Right.
You're going into the mines and
Right. We didn't want your vote. We wanted your wallet. That's what happened. Guard your wallet when you
Yeah.
saw those ladies
But was
coming.
it, as
Yes.
determined as you folks are, I would imagine you did very well.
Well, we did.
$250,000.
No kidding. Wow. That's
And-
fantastic.
That's why there's a second statue in the state capitol.
In the
Yeah.
state capitol, in
Washington state
Carson
capitol.
City, when you walk in the front door of the state capitol, there is that statue of Sarah Winnemucca, which is like the one in the nation's
And how long
capital.
did it take you to get $250,000?
Oh, it took
collected?
us about 8 years.
8 years.
Yes,
Well, it took
yes.
a little while.
Oh, in
You have to
fact,
have a little perseverance to do things like that, don't you?
we
What's
have
that?
a new book.
Yeah?
It's called "It Can Be Done," and it's the story of Sarah Winnemucca
Oh, okay.
and who she was. It's the story of how the statue came about, how we raised the money, how Benjamin did it, and the part on Sarah Winnemucca was written by Dr. Sally Zanjani, who, as you know, is
we had her on the
probably
show.
our leading Nevada historian. And so we have this now, and it will go to the Library of Congress.
Oh, wow. When
because
was it put out? How long have you had it?
it's not even dry, John.
Oh, it's not even
the
dry.
ink
It's
isn't
brand
even
new.
dry.
Well, we're
It's
the first. You're
brand
seeing it
new.
first here on-
We do have copies for sale.
Yes,
All right. Now,
yes.
where would they find these copies?
They would find these copies at the Nevada Women's History Project, and I believe that we're going to show that number.
Yeah, we'll
and,
have that all on the screen,
And
sure.
have that all.
Where's your headquarters? Is it located right here in Reno?
Yes,
Oh,
it's
okay.
700 Smith Ridge.
Smith Ridge.
We're located, right now we're still a part of the Nevada Women's Fund,
Okay.
so our office is located with them.
Okay, great.
And we also have, this is $20, by the way,
Oh, okay,
and
not bad.
then you have to pay postage if we have to mail it to you.
Right, right.
And this is $50. It's a throw that we sell to raise money because right now we want to celebrate women's suffrage.
Right.
And
Because
we-
the anniversary is next year.
The anniversary. So we have between now and between Nevada Day of 2013 and Nevada Day of 2014, it'll coexist with the 150th anniversary celebrations.
Sure, right.
And because we don't want to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
We want to, be able to celebrate this.
Yeah, work in
because
harmony
it's,
with that, right.
Right. It's fun to know about Nevada.
Right, right. That's what we do on the show every week.
Yeah.
Right.
See, women really were important in the state of
Exactly.
Nevada because they brought the government from here and created it.
Yeah, don't get too far away
Oh,
from me now.
okay. Sorry.
I'd just like to point out just briefly that Sarah and somebody may already know this, but Sarah Winnemucca actually created a school for the Indian children.
Whereabouts?
Lovelock.
Oh,
Right
Lovelock?
outside of Lovelock,
Oh,
yes.
okay.
In Lovelock. Yeah, she was a Paiute in the Washoe
Sure.
tribe here.
Right.
And her father was the chief, and she's a fantastic, amazing woman.
What a
Just absolutely
fantastic
Yeah.
story, yeah.
But the unfortunate thing is because she volunteered to help the U.S. Army as an interpreter, her people think she was a traitor.
Yeah. Many of
This
them.
day, huh?
Not
Because-
all.
and she wasn't. She was helping them, but they didn't
Yeah.
realize that.
They
so.
didn't realize it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we actually had to convince them that this was a good thing
Yeah,
to do.
right.
We
And
actually went
now
out to
they
the
love her too.
reservation.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
And this is a proclamation which was just given on April 15th.
Tax day.
Yes.
Yeah.
And many of our members were dressed in costume.
Oh, super.
And we were,
in the Senate.
yes,
Yeah.
we were guests of Senator Debbie Smith,
Oh, great.
who helped us with this. And this is a proclamation recognizing the history of women's suffrage and kind of congratulating their compatriots of 1913. In fact, Senator Sagerblom from Las Vegas confessed to us that his, I don't remember, it was a great-grandfather or whoever, was in the 1913 legislature, and he voted against it.
All right, that's great. Well, listen, we have to take a break here, so we're going to come back with our last segment here in Old Tales of Nevada Past and Present. We're going to get you some information how you can be involved with this organization and some of the things they're doing currently. So stay tuned. We'll be back with more Old Tales of Nevada Past and Present right after this. We're back here in the Old Tales of Nevada Past and Present show, and it's our last segment of the show. And, before I go too far into the show, we're almost through with the show, but I always have to be sure to mention Nevada in the West magazine. Our good friend Neil is sitting off stage here, and he's the honorary curator for the Nevada Historical Society, but also a partner in this magazine called Nevada in the West. And we feature it every week on the show because it focuses on things that we've been talking about throughout the show, the history of women in Nevada, mining in Nevada, everything that's great about Nevada, and it's specifically about Nevada. It doesn't go outside the borders of Nevada. So great pictures, great stories by great writers, and you can get this by going to NevadaInTheWest.com, and I guess they're in the black, so they're going to be around for a while, so super. We appreciate that, and keep up the support of that magazine. But just getting back to you folks, not only were you involved in history, but you ladies are both accomplished career ladies in the 21st century. Tell us, Kathleen, tell us a little about what you've been doing besides this work.
Well, I was a teacher for about 20 years, and then I went to law school and became an attorney.
How about that?
And my interest was always women and children. which kind of goes with teaching.
Sure.
So I became a family law attorney. 317 South Arlington, Finley and Noneman. I was
Barbara Finley.
Right,
She's
yes,
fantastic.
Barbara and I were law partners.
Oh.
And then I was asked to come over to the family court and become a family court master. So I did that off and on for about 20 years. But I'm kind of a
Backed off of that?
gypsy, sort of.
Yeah.
And so, I'd do it for a couple of years, and then I'd leave, and my husband and I do some traveling
Wonderful.
and other
There's a lot
things.
of stress in that courtmaster role.
Yeah.
Yes,
A lot,
yes.
Oh, you see everything
yes.
nowadays, don't you?
Yes.
Which is tough, I
But
suppose.
it's that interest in women and children, and that's also what got me interested in women's history, because the problems become more modern, but they're basically, all along the way, and it's a matter of power and control, and the struggle for that power and control, which still goes on today.
Oh, I'd imagine so. And Holly, what's your career?
Well, I started as an elementary school teacher, and then I went to school libraries, and then I was a college librarian. In fact, that's what brought me here to Reno. I was a Reno Business College librarian. And then I went to work for the state of Nevada as a consulting librarian.
All right, great.
And I retired 2 years ago.
Retired, hey, all right. That's a great, well, it sounds like you're not as retired as you'd like to be.
Well, no.
Because you're having more fun, though.
Well, there's actually an expression, I don't know how I ever found time to work.
I know.
Only I'm saying I don't have time to work for pay.
Yeah.
Everything I do is volunteer now.
Yeah. So tell us now, if people want to become involved with your group, how they go about doing that?
Well, we have a website, and it's called nevadawomen.org, and it tells you how to buy one of these books or the throw, how to join. We always welcome new members, whether you want to play dress up or not.
Yeah.
You don't have to do this.
You don't have to do this. But every year, to commemorate suffrage, we have a pink tea in the governor's mansions and the governor's mansion.
In the mansion itself.
And we have been so lucky, starting with Governor
Gwynn.
Miller and Governor Gwynn. They've allowed us to have access,
to the mansion
to the
itself.
mansion, and
Yeah.
people get all dressed up, and we usually have a program. And a pink tea was a suffrage strategy all over the United States. And because men were very hesitant about allowing their wives and daughters to have anything to do with politics. Politics was down and dirty.
Sure.
And that
Still is.
women were above all of that.
Sure.
So the women would get all dressed up and take their sewing baskets, and inside the basket they would have all their brochures and their envelopes and their calendars to plot strategy. And when the menfolk would say, "Well, where are you going, dear?" "I'm going to a pink tea." And of course, they never wanted to go along.
No.
And so the women would go, and then they would open their baskets, and a pink tea was a strategy, a political strategy meeting. And if a man walked in, then they would quickly pull out their knitting or whatever. So to commemorate that, we just had our
12th one, yeah.
12th one. In fact, Holly was in charge of it.
Yeah,
Did
did you
a
get a good
beautiful
attendance
job.
for it? Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
no
do.
kidding.
Right.
That's
Great.
very nice.
Yes,
That's great.
and everybody's invited, and depending on what kind of food we're serving and that sort of thing, it's usually about $40, $45.
Now, what kind of issues are you involved with today? Do you stay focused on history? Do you get involved politically with things, or where's your direction?
We're tax, exempt, and
Right.
the donations to our organization, you can deduct them.
Right.
So we don't become involved with modern day politics.
Yeah.
We stick to the history of women, And right now we're really looking forward to celebrating. We'll have a number of events celebrating suffrage.
Okay.
And
we're also starting a new project, Kathy. You may not know about it yet. It's just been proposed to do oral histories.
Okay.
We've in the past we have basically written biographies of women who are no longer living, and they are on the website. And so now we've decided to look at women who are living now and get their histories down.
Right.
And
are you doing it via the written page, or are you doing it video?
well, it's an oral history,
Oral
and
history.
then it's being typed out.
It's being typed out. Do you ever think about actually doing a video of it?
well, we would love to do a video,
Yeah.
but we don't have that kind of money.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
We have to stick, you know, to what we can afford to do. And right now we're trying.
He might be volunteering.
Well, we might be able to get you some help.
That would
Because
be
to
great.
me, I mean, oral history is not that difficult to do. You have a face shot and a person sitting there
Right.
giving their story. That's what we do here on the show. It's basically oral history that is videotaped, and we put it into the Historical Society as well as special collections over at the university.
And that's wonderful.
So
Yes.
you'll be around 100
Yes.
years from now, just so you know.
Oh, good.
Yeah, yeah. And we all will be.
We all will be. We'll be a part of history
No,
ourselves.
I guess they actually run the show at either the Historical Society or UNR. About once a week, they pull out a portion of the show and they run it for folks that are there visiting. So it is being used. You know.
Well, Holly was talking about the biographies.
Yeah.
We have over 100
Do
biographies
you?
of historical women on NevadaWomen.org.
Okay, where do you store those?
They're stored. The website is connected with the University of Nevada.
I see.
So it's in their domain. And they're all stored there for access for students who want to
Sure.
write papers, do research,
Sure.
or anybody who's really interested in that. Now,
But the paper forms are up at the Historical Society.
Historical Society.
Yeah.
Wonderful place to store
right.
things,
Oh,
actually.
yes.
Oh, definitely.
But the thing, most states provide money,
Yeah.
state money or historical society money to operate a website for suffrage or to promote their other statues or
Right.
anything like that. Nevada is all self-funding.
Really?
And so right now our website is about 12 years old. It is kind of,
Need some help.
It needs some help. So there's
So
got to be
we're-
somebody watching the show
right.
that would do that for you as a donation.
Oh, I'd love that.
You know?
That we would need.
Yeah.
And
That's
so,
what
you know,
need. Say what you need.
Yeah.
Bobby will get it.
Yeah, for sure. Let people know, because we have thousands and thousands of people watching the show.
I hope so. Well, I went to one of the 150th anniversary meetings, and they said they needed, I don't know, $2-point-something million. And I said, all I need is
Yeah,
a
really.
few $1,000s to redo a website
Wow.
and bring it up to date and really bring it for suffrage. Now, the 150 celebration is going to kick off at this next October 30th, probably the 28th, the parade.
Yeah.
And that's when we're kicking off our big celebration. And so we want women in organizations or personally to come and march with us in that parade, and we'll do a costume type thing, and we want as many women as we can to be in that march. And a lady named Carolyn Runnels, who does a lot of costume work and living history, is in charge of that parade for us. And so you'll have the phone number here for the
Yeah,
history
we'll have the phone
project.
number up there.
Yes, and we want women to just, we just want a whole crowd.
Yeah, so you don't have to be a member necessarily to,
Oh, no,
to do that.
anybody. We want everybody's organization, or just come out yourself and we'll help you put on a costume. And,
All right.
or,
Now, do you
just
expect
hats
members
and-
that are actual members, do you expect them to do a lot of work as individuals in the group, or can they be rather passive and still be part of the group?
You can do as much or as little as you want.
Okay, good.
People
Well-
usually get excited about it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, once they're in, especially being around
Right,
people like you.
right.
Wait, listen, we're out of time. We actually have to
okay.
close the show. It's been a great hour with you guys, going all the way back to 1913 and beyond. So thank you so much for bringing that portion of history of Nevada to us. We really appreciate that.
Well, thank you so much for inviting us. you know,
And
we
you,
love
Roy, thank
to
you for
come.
bringing it to TV every week. We really appreciate that, and I know the people in Nevada do as well. And we'd like to thank everybody for watching this week and invite you back for another episode of Old Tales of Nevada, past and present, next week. In the meantime, have a great Nevada day. This is John O'Brien. Say goodbye for this week.
You've been watching Old Tales of Nevada with your host, Hugh Roy Marshall, historian and world-renowned gold and silver baron, presented by the Silverland Inn and Suites and the Marshalman in Virginia City. Join us again next Thursday at 1 p.m. on the CW Reno for another edition of Old Tales of Nevada.